Well, it's just me. It's just me. Well, it's just me. Took over the show. I took over the show. Oh, I got caught.
You go live?
Psych. We're live.
Hi.
Hi, guy.
I'm just reading up on some, like I made a folder for my emails called Read Me,
Oh,
which,
good.
to put stuff aside to be ready for schmoozing, to talk about on schmoozing,
Oh, yeah.
So,
You got some fun stuff in there, buddy?
I do. Once we get some folks up in here. First of
Where's
all, welcome to
everybody
all
at?
you podcast listeners. What is up? Welcome
Oh,
to
dude.
Schmoozing with Soul Clap, all you audio-only folks. And looks like we're actually hitting Twitch now. We got 141 viewers up on Twitch. So, what is up, Twitch folks, too?
What's up, Twitch?
Welcome to Schmoozing with Soul Clap.
That's us.
Live and direct. And today, 144. Yeah, today we have a very, very special guest. Her name is Nona Hendryx.
Woo!
We are
That's
continuing
no
to
ordinary
celebrate-
name, Eli.
What's up?
It's no ordinary name. It's a name that carries a weight.
Here's a weight to it.
Dopeness.
Nona has been a very important voice in music since the 60s, when she came through as one of the original members of La Belle, the legendary group formed by Patti LaBelle, and then went off on her own as Nona Hendryx. Dropped a number of amazing solo albums, but has also become an educator, teaching at Berkeley, doing a number of different kinds of seminars and events around the country, around the world, and then also has been an innovator with different technological ideas and different ways of thinking and looking at and participating in music. So Nona is truly an inspiration. We've had the honor and pleasure of working with her on numerous projects now.
We really have.
And we're going to bring her in a little bit here on the Schmooze. Charlie, tell us a little bit about Schmoozing with Soul Clap.
Like what? Like, who are we? What do we do? What are we doing in this bubble, in this digital bubble? Schmoozing is the show that Eli and I started during this pandemic period as an opportunity to reconnect with some of our favorite artists and meet some new ones, hear some stories. We're all about schmoozing. Schmoozing's like real talk. It's like, dude, we're like, we met up and we schmoozed. That means like we sat down. It's Yiddish, and it means we talked some real talk. We kept it going. We ping-ponged. We kept each other entertained, and we learned from each other, because these long format conversations are what is really needed in the world. Everything's so short. It's like limited to this many characters, or it's like, oh yeah, what's up, but let's sit
30
down
seconds,
there.
15 seconds, 60 seconds. How long is your story?
Let's have a schmooze. Let's have a longer schmooze.
Have a
And we
schmooze.
learned so much. We've had amazing guests on the show, and we are so excited to have Nona. And it's not the first time she's been on the show, but it will be the first time that we get a proper schmooze.
That's right. And you know what? Before we get into that, let's do this.
This is something special for you.
Schmoozing.
Lonely sea, bamboozle.
Schmoozing.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Schmoozing.
Soul Clap.
Are you ready? The show's about to start.
Woo-wee.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
There's a little echo on that, huh?
there is an echo.
Yes. Is it still echoing? There's a little echo on that, huh? Yes. Endless loop?
That was cool. That was really cool. What was that?
I don't know.
How do we get that back?
Echo. So
check
this
out
month
down
we're
below.
celebrating.
Yeah,
What's that?
yeah. Tell him. We're saying the same thing at the same time. You tell him, buddy. Tell him about this.
You're right. We're running on the bottom. So this month we're celebrating Black History Month, with some amazing women, Black women in music, in dance music, but in music in general. This week we have Nona. We've talked about. Next week's Ultra Nate, and on the 25th, in 2 weeks, it is Barbara Tucker, the Queen of House Music.
Yeah, it's so
Um,
I'm so excited to catch up with all three of these remaining guests. This is a really, really awesome month of scheduling.
these are I mean, coming up starting today, we have some of like our favorite voices in music. So that's going to be it's going to be a great rest of the month. And March is going to be great too, but we're not going to talk about that at all. Coming up at the end of the show, we have our new post Schmoozing raid party power hour going to be over on our channel on Soul Clap Music, playing all Nona's music. So after we talk to her, we're going to have a chance to get into the depth of her musical catalog, which is really
mate. Mix it up
as well. Yeah, that's right. Mixing it up back to back as we do. But before we get into Nona, there was just a couple announcements. I was going through my email folder where I save things that I want to talk about on Schmoozing. One of them is, in honor of Black History Month, the Haitian Bridge Alliance this week is an advocacy week of action to support Black immigrants, and led by the Haitian Bridge Alliance. So talking about seeking asylum and how, anti-asylum laws in the U.S. under the last administration are basically are very racist, are almost systemic, an extension of our systemic racism here in the U.S. Because asylum seeking is an internationally recognized human right, and many asylum seekers are Black or brown, and have been denied due process, locked in detention, eventually deported. Asylum seekers, basically what that means is they are fleeing their home countries because they're being persecuted and fear for their lives or their families' lives in their home countries. And the U.S. has had a history of welcoming these folks into America. Often these are people who have talents, or lawyers, doctors, political activists, people who have very powerful voices, and that's why they're often threatened in their home countries. And it's really important, I think, to welcome them here in the U.S. Obviously, there's a process that they have to go through, but if it's a legitimate asylum seeker, we need to make sure they are allowed to come here and seek asylum here in the U.S., especially Black folks from around the world. As we look here to celebrate Black History Month, it's really important that we talk about this issue. And over on the Haitian Bridge Alliance on Facebook, they're going to have later this evening, I think at 5:30 Eastern time. So if you get bored of the schmooze, you can head over and have a chat and check out their conversation about.
What's their website? I'll scroll it across the bottom.
It's facebook.com/Haitian Bridge. Located in San Diego, California. Big shout out. Also there's lots of climate news always, but the big one, I think I'm actually a little late with this, but we didn't get to talk about this last week, was General Motors announcing their plans to go 100% electric.
Yeah. That's great, man. I mean, everybody's following too.
It's always complicated with these things, right? Like they were one of the big proponents of rolling back the Obama era guidelines on emissions. So they lobbied the previous administration to roll those back more than any other car company. But now they've changed their tune. They're getting on board, and we see more and more big corporations across many industries, from even fossil fuel companies, now getting on board, trying to make an impact on climate change. I think the writing is clearly on the wall as we see more and more of these companies and CEOs, getting behind climate actions for their companies. So let's hope our governments actually start listening to people and corporations and get off their asses and start passing some serious legislation. And hopefully we're on the road to that here in the U.S.
Can I add just some really shallow 2 cents, please?
Yeah.
GM, when you make these electric cars, can you make them look and feel and behave dope?
I mean, this is something that's cool about electric cars, though, is they look dope.
Make them dope. Make them drive dope.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to get in a GM electric vehicle and have the battery last like 25 minutes.
Have you seen you've seen a Ford Mustang Mach-E electric, right?
What? No, put it up, dude. Let's
this is like Ford's big. Let me get a picture. This is Ford's big foray into electric vehicles. They took the Mustang And let me share this photo. One
I
second.
want to see. Also,
Yeah,
while you're pulling that up, I did see something that one of the guys that was at Tesla left and is claiming that he's got like an even more impressive product coming. I'll have to look into that. So I mean, it's exciting because I wouldn't buy another gas vehicle. I mean, I bought my motorcycle is gasoline. I think that's the last gasoline powered. I even got an electric lawnmower.
Yo, I got an electric leaf blower.
Woo!
I mean, this is the future, electric everything, because right now the grid is still running off a lot of fossil fuels, but coal, I just learned in one of my classes, coal went from almost 50% at the turn of the century in 2000, almost 50% of our electrical energy supplied by coal,
Yeah.
to down to less than 25% now, at 23%. I mean, a big part of that is fracking and natural gas, which obviously has its own issues, but coal is the absolute worst. And we have seen renewables more than double in our supply for our grid here in the U.S. So that's great. So we're going to see more and more. The more you can buy electric, the more ultimately, as our grid becomes more and more electric, it's going to have a big impact. And electric cars are much more efficient than gas cars. The engines of oil burning cars are only something like 35-40% efficiency. Most of the energy gets burned off in emissions.
I feel like your cousin would not approve.
No. Whereas like electric cars,
Mike
like
would
70-80% efficiency. So, it took humans like 100 years to get to efficient engines and cars, but we're finally there. So let's run with it.
So what are we looking at here? This is the Mustang?
Mustang Mach-E, which
Does it look, is it dope on the inside?
I don't
It
know.
looks okay. It kind of looks like a Hyundai.
I mean, these electric cars are all these super aerodynamic style, right? Like back in the back, and
you don't want to have a lot of. Although, look, let's face it, those like super non-aerodynamic styles of like the 50s and 60s can't beat those body designs. Things are amazing.
Yeah, no, even the 90s. We talked about. I think last week or the week before we were showing that old
Hammer
with the wood panels.
Oh yeah, the wood car.
That was a funny one.
That's a funny one. That's like a family mobile. Yo, I got an environmental thing that I want to throw on the heap too, and then we'll move on to Bandcamp. But I was watching Shark Tank, and a guy was on, and he got funded, and the reason why is because he makes wax for skis and snowboards, and apparently these are all petroleum based until now, and he's made it from some organic material. And apparently the friction of skis on snow is leaving the traces of petroleum all over the mountain and then getting into the snow, and that's going to the water table. So this is actually really polluting. I had no idea. I wouldn't even.
Almost everything we have and use in our modern world and buy is made from petrol. Has some kind of petroleum in it in the process of making it. So it's wild once you start digging in on that. That's another conversation.
Conversation.
I want to shout out the chat room quick before we do Song of the Week. We got Kelly P in the house. We got Cleo. Woo! We got Dan Bain saying Detroit Diesel just got a $20 million investment for electric trucks. So that's the future too. Electric trucks. That's a big part of it. There's so many trucks on the road. We got to electrify everything. Shout out to Skylar Weibo in the chat. And let's run our.
Look at this. I'm rocking comments. What's this, Kelly P? Synth pad inside the car to reverse the engine? What?
Rev that engine.
That's true. I want a delay on my electric vehicle.
Yeah. But now let's run that. You ready for that Bandcamp?
Hit it, E.
The Bandcamp Song of the Week.
Oh yeah. Yo, so check this out. So this week, I copped a bunch of stuff on that last Bandcamp Friday, and this is just one EP that stood out because it was just so fresh. Now, the reason I bought this is because it's a wonderful Caribbean disco version of Nassau's Disco, which is a song that we know and we've heard many renditions of. But look, there's this other B-side of a slow song called Love Misunderstood. And I just really wanted to share it with all y'all.
Big shout out to Freezy1234.
Love is good, love is bad, love is sweet, love is sad. I've heard so many definitions of love, you know it makes me wonder.
Love's not only receiving, but also giving. Not always 50-50, not always peaches and cream, but there'll be bad times. True love will conquer all.
I was a victim of flaky game. I couldn't be there when she needed me, so my love
Flaky.
just kept drifting away and away, and now she's gone, long gone.
They keep telling me that they love me, that they love me, that they love me. What's wrong with these men today? All they're looking for is a good time, but they ain't fooling nobody.
Let me tell you about love, man. Material things don't mean nothing. Love comes from need and sacrifice. You can't be selfish.
Oh, so good. Oh, so good. Love, 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 love. Misunderstood. Misunderstood. Love. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. Love, 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 love. Misunderstood. Misunderstood. Love.
Love has been mistaken
Oh, so good.
and misunderstood.
But you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give.
Give me little love, give me little love, give me little love, give me little
Ooh, that call and response.
Yeah.
But you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give.
Give me little love, give me little love, give me little love, give me little love, give me little love.
But you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give.
Give me little love, give me little love, give me little love, give me little love, give me little love.
But you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give.
I'm gonna have some understanding.
But you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give, but you gotta give.
Woo!
Oh boy,
Oh, what a tune!
so dope.
Yo, I love anything that has a section where it's like someone's like, "Hi, I'm Charlie, and I'm a Gemini, and I blah blah blah." Blah. You gotta have that that like the introduction section or the interview section.
Oops, I didn't want to bring that in there. I was trying to get that ready for later, but it
Dude, you got
automatically.
it ready. That's because it's ready to go.
I was ready. You know what? I'm just excited to get Nona in here. That's really.
Let's bring her in.
What's
Ladies and
going on?
gentlemen, without further ado, the guest of the hour.
Guest of honor.
The guest of honor of the hour, of the 2 hours, the schmooze, Miss Nona Hendryx.
Nona!
Yo!
Yeah. Yo.
Is that a Nick Cave original? That
You are exactly right.
What?
Yes. I'm being a sound suit at the moment.
Oh,
that is so cool.
Yes, it was Nick made it for me, so I thought I'd wear it here with the soul clap moments as we schmooze here. And I brought 2 of my little friends with me, 3 of my little friends. I'm gonna hang out. This is my, you can't have an audience anymore, so this is my audience.
They seem so agreeable.
Yay! Yay!
Captive audience, as they say.
We got a little echo.
Yeah,
perhaps Nona, is that
the black and white people are stuck together?
Finally.
Do
you hear a little echo? Maybe just double check that echo cancellation is on.
It is on, but I think
wonderful.
Maybe it's because should I go to my other microphone? You think that maybe the issue?
No, I think it's all right. It could have just been on my end.
Are you still hearing it?
No, I think
you sound great.
Dude, you got more ears than you need. So yay!
So welcome.
Yeah, welcome to Schmoozing. It's great to have you back on the show.
Good to see both of you.
And it's great to have had a month or so now of less stress on us after the inauguration. It's really feels like being able to breathe again in many ways.
Yeah, it was really stressful. That track we played though was very cool.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, I like that. That's some new stuff for me.
Oh, wicked! I will share with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I'm always getting so much great music from Bandcamp these days. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, and it's good. It fits what Eli was just saying. How we're less stressed out now that what's his name? Is
old funny buddy.
Wherever he might be doing whatever he's doing, I don't have to be concerned.
Yeah, you don't have to be concerned, Nona. I live in Miami. He's probably like right next door.
Hey, you know what?
He's whacking balls.
That's what you get for going down there. You knew the water was dangerous before you got in.
Come test it out before I have you guys come down and hang out.
You gotta wait till the sharks leave.
Yeah, this is shark mating season, actually. February. Have you ever seen the episode of Blue Planet?
Oh,
where they're did you ever watch that?
Yeah,
David Attenborough?
That's my kind of late morning, late night, early morning watching is all that. I watched this crazy thing the other night about them being able to sort of like virtually drain the ocean so that treasure hunters can find ships of gold. They found like $170 million worth of gold because they were able to use it, virtually drain the ocean as they were
ocean modeling. It's like a modeling software.
Yeah. And they found this old ship galleon from Spanish galleon that was taking gold and emeralds to Spain from the west coast, from Mexico. Like gold bars, emeralds, jars of emeralds, and they
crazy.
Crazy. It was, and then they're looking for they found an old warship that was Russians were paid gold for armor for weapons, and they were sending the gold that they were using to pay for it in this during the war back to England, because England sold them the because they were fighting the Germans, right?
Yeah, allies.
Right, and the ship was, they torpedoed their own ship because they didn't want the Germans to get their gold, so they torpedoed the ship. It was been they sunk it, and that they were able to find it, and they got the gold out. So England and Russia split the money, and the gold treasure hunters got paid too.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah, so I watched that.
I love it. Spacey Bean's asking if we can do this to find the Loch Ness monster, which would be
yes.
Oh, well, you know, I don't know how much money you're going to get for the monster. But
yeah, he's probably gonna be like, you'll finally find him and be like, hey man, it's
Like,
can I borrow $1?
I have at it. Yeah.
No, but I just wanted to say about back to Blue Planet that there's this
Yeah.
episode that's like filmed down here. It's actually in Fort Lauderdale, and it's during shark mating season. It's like a February, and they have drone footage. They're up on the beach in Fort Lauderdale, and it's like a busy. This is all obviously pre-pandemic, packed beach. And
sure? I mean, it's Florida. I mean, there's still
yeah,
gonna be
it's
a
probably
package
packed.
down there right now. You know?
So it's probably weekend because it was really busy.
Yeah.
And just like up there, like down here, it's the same. There's like the shore, and then there's a little sandbar, and that keeps.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's natural or if it's dredged, but it keeps the big waves from coming in. Anyway, between the shore and the sandbar is empty. On the other side of the sandbar, and this is a drone footage that goes up and up and up. It's sharks swimming. It's like an infestation of sharks.
Really?
So this is they come here seeking
That's their mating
shark mating season, particular water temperatures.
Yeah.
And they're out there. So
that's look, sharks got a mate.
I mean, look, sharks may be scary, but they are also, endangered by climate change. So, we got to look out for our sharks. We need ecosystems.
Sharks be in love and all that.
Shark love. So shark love affair.
Shark love.
Exactly.
That would be a good title for a track.
Shark love EP.
Shark.
So
yes.
So Nona, I want to.
Right.
We know each other very, very well, but I do want to take a little step back here and have a little intro. I mean, I gave you a little intro at the beginning of the show, but maybe there's new folks tuning in.
Yeah.
So Nona Hendryx is your initial claim to fame was as one of the members of LaBelle, of Patti LaBelle's group, right?
Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells.
Patti LaBelle and Bluebell.
First we were the Bluebells.
Mm-hmm.
Then we became Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, and then we became LaBelle. In that order.
And how did this tell us about how you got into music and how that initial step happened?
You want that that question?
So that's always, I think that's a good starting point.
Oh my God!
No, you're boring one. That's
Wait,
such
all
a
right,
boring.
wait.
Really?
Let me remix the question.
All right, switch the question.
Which incarnation of Patti LaBelle, the Bluebells, LaBelle, or Nona Hendryx and the Ballerinas was your favorite incarnation of that grouping?
Oh wow! It's real. That's hard because I that's hard. There's not one is the favorite because they all had their high points. The Bluebells and then Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. I'd have to say, if I had to choose, I'd go Bluebells and LaBelle because Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells period was not as sort of musically as interesting. It was sort of an extension of the Bluebells, but in a different way. But LaBelle, I guess, really has to be the most important because it was the breaking of the mold of female artists, how they presented themselves. Before that, all girl groups kind of were the same, the Ronettes, the Supremes.
Sort of like a Motown feel, yeah?
Well, pre-Motown. You had the Andrews sisters and people like that, and they were all kind of in the same, the ones who did, Woogie Woogie, those, they were all sort of like the same. They dressed the same. The kind of hair was kind of the same. They were uniform. LaBelle was the first girl group that was not. So that was the iconic break that happened that allowed En Vogue, what's the group? Beyonce, what's the group?
And Vogue. Destiny's Child.
Destiny's Child. I forget, quite a few have come after, but what's one Left Eye group?
That's TLC.
Yeah, TLC. Yep. Yeah. So after LaBelle, that was the change of that kind of girl groups were no longer dressing alike in that way or sing. There were individuals were presented in the group as vocalists, as leads. It wasn't just like the lead singer and the backing singer is the lead singer and the backing singers as it had always been. So yeah, I have to go with that if I had to actually choose a reason why I would choose it.
And a lot of it had to do with you actually making these incredible costumes, right? For the group at that point, right?
Well, no, I didn't make. I started making, like, because I could sew. I started making some of my own, and then some for the group, but not the ones for LaBelle. The LaBelle, I think I made a couple for the LaBelle, but they were pre the sort of futuristic space look. That came from Larry Legaspi, who was a designer in New York, a gay guy with the gay guys downtown in like Christopher Street area. They were, Larry was really an incredible sort of future thinker in terms of clothing and design and mixing silver and cabling and all kinds of things in terms of metal. And he and like about 7 other gay guys, they traveled like as a pod, and they would come and see us all the time. And they eventually kind of like took, they felt sorry for us because our costuming wasn't so hot. And Larry said, ask Vicky Wickham, who was managing us, asked Vicky if he could they could make some costumes for us. And Vicky said, yeah, how much are they going to cost? And I think we probably paid nothing for them, but he started, and that was the beginning of that whole look. And then Kiss hired them to do a similar look for them. They got that.
Oh wow, he did the outfits for Kiss.
Yeah, he did Kiss. He did Kiss.
You know what? Now that I think about maybe some old imagery of you and that kind of look of Kiss, I could see how that could be connected. Absolutely, yeah, that's pretty cool.
We had the same. We had the same attorney.
Yeah,
same lawyer.
I think you wore it better, though. I will say.
Well, I would say so.
Obviously. Do you have a video ready of these?
I don't know if I have. Yeah, I have a bunch of the with Patti LaBelle era stuff.
Okay.
But speaking of, well, not a bunch. I have 3. But speaking of from outer space and costume design, this video of a live performance of your song "System" from 1976 popped up, and there's this moment in the middle of a performance where you are standing proud on stage, rocking this look that is so futuristic and ahead of its time, and in many ways very like Mothership Connection energies. But probably pre what year was Mothership? That was like,
well, yeah, that George came to see LaBelle. He
ripped it off from you.
He had the same attorney. Honestly, I'm telling you, Ina Maybeck, who was our attorney, was also P-Funk's attorney and was Kiss's attorney. Okay. And when everybody would call and go, what did they do? He'd go, go to Larry. And then he did Grace Jones. He did
wow.
Who else? Somebody else, but like everybody started going to him. And so P-Funk, and then he did all that stuff with P-Funk with the shoes, the dog, comic dog stuff. So yeah, that's Larry Legaspi.
Yo, by the way,
there's got to be like where we find there actually is an Instagram account I just found of that posts images of archive images from his work. So that's interesting.
Yeah. They find
But there's got to be a documentary about this. This is like we got to see all this stuff, or like a museum
That would be a
exhibition.
fascinating.
there's another
documentary.
the designer Rick Owen. He just
Yeah.
did his last collection was inspired by Larry Legaspi.
Oh,
So his last collection, and he did a book because Larry influenced him so as when he was a kid. And so that Larry's getting more recognition now because Rick Owen did this whole thing about him. I think it was like last 2019, 2020.
What do you think about the whole Rick Owens thing from a few years back? Are you privy to that? Is that appropriate for schmoozing? Can we talk about this?
What did he do?
Oh, well, there was someone urinating in his mouth after
Oh, yeah, right.
and the pee-pees on the runway with the little holes for
the dicks on the runways. That was his maybe most famous one.
But the peeing in his mouth thing is,
it's very Berlin. It's very Berlin.
Look, I don't know. I guess you can say don't knock it till you try it. However, it's not like first in line of freaky things that I really want to. And I'm sorry, I'm probably grossing everybody out, but like also, does your partner drink a lot of coffee or, there's layers to this thing.
Yeah, I don't. He is a eclectic, I think might be the word that you want to use, person, and somewhat extreme. And, and I've been around the block a couple of times. And I've seen some things on the block a few times. So I don't really like stop and look because I've seen so much that it's like, okay, right, fine. Okay. As long as you're not hurting anybody else.
Amen. Hey, I'm with that.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. I'm sorry for being so gross, guys. Let's go take a look at this moment from System. I'm actually going to pull it back a little bit further.
Okay.
Look at Nona just absolutely crushing. Look, I'm sorry.
Who you are, and I know where you've been. The only thing is that I might not know where you're going.
Woo! Electric.
Yeah, amazing.
What? Wow. Oh my goodness.
That must have been really fun. I mean, that's like the theatrical choreography is so amazing to see.
Yeah, that's that I think that's with signature label, because before that you didn't really have in sort of a girl group kind of artists where you performed more like an opera or theater musical, and so I would write songs for LaBelle so that we could perform them in that way. So Sarah had a part as a, if you take it apart, each artist, each one of us had our own voice and as a character. And the system, I was playing the role of the system that ignores what's going on, trying to get people to stay in line to do what I want the system to do. And Patty plays the part of the sort of the agitator who's saying, freeing the people. And Sarah plays the role of the people.
Oh wow! So this narrative is told over the course of the concert, or this is
song.
Your costume change.
That's one song. That's one song system, and it starts with "System, Don't You Bother Me." I've been here. I know who you are. I've been here for days. So the song is told as a story, and then it comes together as a interaction. So the characters are interacting, and and then I wrote Hollywood. Can I speak to you before you go to Hollywood in the same way, so that each one of us took on a different segment of the song and then came together and it was really about, like somebody you knew and they got, all of a sudden they became famous or whatever, and they got the big head. Couldn't talk to nobody no more, right? They had their bodyguards and their crew. So it's can I speak to you before you go to Hollywood? And so that one, and then there was I Believe I Finally Made It Home. It's like a 3-part as well, about different, times or things that happen in your life, and that you eventually find what's home for you, right? So there's like about 8 or 9 or maybe 10 of those different songs that I wrote for LaBelle, so that we performed them in live on stage in that way within a show. That wasn't like the whole show. That was just like a part of the show.
How many costume changes do you think you guys had throughout the night?
We actually didn't do that many. We would do maybe 2, maybe 3, because we were singing. We had time to like change a whole lot of costumes. Like, y'all better be out here singing because we paid to hear you sing, not change costumes.
Well, speaking back to the costumes, and you had mentioned, and because you can clearly see in that outfit, I should have kept a still up, that the designers got those platform chaps almost.
Yeah, chaps.
But definitely, as you said, the same designer doing George's platforms.
Yeah.
And it reminded me that I was on George Clinton merch on his website in the merch section, and I didn't realize this, but he has a collaboration with John Fluvog. Check these out. Inspired by Mothership Connection.
Oh, okay.
What?
Whoa. I gotta hit George up.
Wow. Yeah, those are
okay. That'll be my next text to George and Carla.
Yeah, you gotta be like, yeah, what's up with the shoe? I'm size 6, whatever.
Yeah, you exactly. You got that cause of me, so let me,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. This must have been. It says early access is closed, so maybe it's pretty limited. Or those are gorgeous.
I'm going straight to the horse's mouth. Yo, George, ain't that funkin' kind of hard on you?
Yeah. So it's hard on me too. Send me some shoes.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man.
Well, I got my, he's been painting these birdhouses. Right?
Oh wow. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at that.
They sent me a birdhouse.
Wow.
That's
that
cool.
is pretty cool. What?
Yeah.
And it looks like the shoes.
It does look
Yeah.
like the shoes.
I have to get me a little funky bird to go inside.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nona, you had mentioned for your last birthday as a birthday present, you got a long form conversation with George, and I didn't really get a chance to listen to the whole thing before the show, but I did land in the middle. Well, there was I think it's so funny, this whole era of like Zoom communication and internet problems. You guys have a very like innocent and cute and old, you can tell the old friendship, like internet meltdown in the middle, sort of. You're like, huh? What? So I kind of landed there, and that's what I have queued up, but we don't have to look at that. But there is a section where yeah, let's put it up. And I think that there's
very real.
looking at you're like start looking at some artwork, and I believe maybe reviewing some of his stuff.
Yeah, George was in his studio painting, and showing where his some of his artwork, because we've been talking about doing a duo exhibition of our artwork.
Oh, that would be so cool.
So that was sort of a precursor to that, and we're still, hopefully when we can get back to being together, we can do that.
Well, I will add on top then, when Eli and I had the privilege of going down to What Studios in Tallahassee, it was basically he had his art all over the place.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. I'll have to dig up those photos.
Yeah, he's really amazing. I mean, it's his own, comes out of the mind of George, right?
Totally. Check this out.
Okay.
Did I hit the audio? Let me do it again. Sorry. We're our own producers right now.
Okay.
Producing the show ourselves.
We're producing the show.
You're doing.
We're schmoozing. We're producing.
Break that room.
Yeah, you're just like.
Here. Here it is. Check it out.
My sound is up. I'm gonna go to internal speaker. Maybe that would do it.
Go full screen with that,
George.
Testing. Test. Testing.
All right.
Yeah, like click on the YouTube full screen so you don't get all the ads on the side.
Testing.
No, I'm gonna have to go back to the other system for some reason. It's like your old funk art uncle and aunt.
Yeah.
Like.
What happened?
I don't know. I'm scratching my face and things, trying to figure it out. I don't know what happened. Something we lost. I think.
Can you hear me? Yep. I can't hear you though.
No, wait.
I hear you a little teeny bit. Turn your volume up.
Huh? I'm waiting for a huh.
You can hear me now.
I hear you now.
All right. So that means let's see whether you can. All right, I was trying to show him this footage.
This is very meta. We're showing a video of
someone showing a video.
Yes, exactly. I was trying to show him this video about how they had us down.
Now, this is awesome chaos. But is this the art? Is this his art coming up, or is this? Oh, this is just art in general, maybe.
Where?
Oh, well.
No. Is that the video? Is that you?
This is your video.
You know, Charlie's
Oh, you can see me scrolling. That's right. Who hired these producers?
I don't know.
That's terrible.
Producers. I was like, wait, you have to scroll down in the video so you can. It's further down. You can see his art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like go later on in the video.
Yeah.
Eli, did you take control?
Yeah.
No, I got control.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm looking. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bam.
Right. Can you get that up so that we can? Yeah.
Bam.
People can see that. There you go. All right. And that's a video from where he was working in the studio. You know,
videos and videos.
That's how George paints. He likes to be chilling with a joint, and he's colorblind, right?
No, really?
Yeah, he's colorblind.
That makes for extra interesting paintings.
Exactly. That's why they're from the mind of George, because he sees certain colors spectrum he can't see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to, like assume why, but I can probably guess, right? So, but
Maybe, or I mean, I guess it usually goes the other way around, right?
well,
Like you kind of start off
supposedly,
black and white, and then you go
yeah, I think he goes the other way.
maybe going full circle.
Yeah, but so his friend puts out colors for him and sort of tells him like what they are, and then he paints from that color palette.
Wow. Well, this is a very cool
Yeah,
conversation with a ton of history.
That was my birthday present to myself, to be able to have this. It was only going to be an hour, but it ended up being 2 hour conversation with George.
Once you start talking to people that are interesting and that you have relationships with over long periods of time, it can just go on and on and on.
Yeah, it was great. We had a really good time. It was, just really not so much reminiscing, not really talking about so much from the past because there was so much, but just really kind of being in the moment, and different things would come up about the past and we'd talk about them, and but very little. It was really kind of just being in the moment and talking about music and art. That's what I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. You guys have really had a relationship, a friendship that has spanned such a long time. And it feels as though, I mean, I feel like we got to you through our collaboration with George in the first place. It wasn't until I think Sadie or Kendra Foster linked us up when we were at Red Bull Studios in Manhattan that we even got to cross paths. And now look at us. It's like, almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
And we keep funking.
Funking.
That was a cool experience. I mean, you brought up the Red Bull when we first met. The first time we met, we were in the studio. We were in the middle of like a multiple day session at Red Bull Studios in Midtown, and working on material for our second album. And I remember you kind of came in and you just like immediately, we had the right song, the right beat for lyrics that you had. It just went together immediately. It was really incredible how fast it happened. That was Shine. This is it.
Shine. Wasn't Bernie there? Was Bernie was there, right?
Sadie was with us.
Sadie. That's how we met, was through Sadie, and
Billy Bass was there too.
Billy Bass was there. Yeah. That's right.
Billy Bass.
We never got an opportunity. I never got a proper opportunity to connect with Bernie.
Oh,
and
no?
I think I attended the Black Rock Coalition fundraiser you did right before he passed.
Yeah.
But it was such a commotion,
Yeah,
and there were so many. I mean, oh my gosh, that was crazy.
It was there was
so
69. There was 69 or something musicians that night, including Buckethead.
Can you go down the list of everyone that was there? I know In Living Color performed.
Living Color, Jimmy Hazel,
Rick Springfield performed. Fred Schneider from the B-52s performed "Monster in My Pants."
Yeah, yes, and David Byrne.
Performed.
Boy, Bootsy.
No, it wasn't David Byrne. It was
David Byrne was there.
He was
Jerry Harrison.
Jerry Harrison performed.
Talking Heads played, but David was up in the balcony, jumping up and down. All right,
man, I missed that.
David was there. Meryl Streep was playing Triangle. She was like, "I'll play something."
I can't believe I missed that one. Oof.
Oh my!
Meryl Streep was playing Triangle.
What was weird for me was I sat with George and his granddaughter Tanisha, and two weird things for me. One was that I was able to invite my summer camp counselors, who in 1992 were the band leaders for a P-Funk cover band, which us campers performed, where I I performed the parts of George Clinton, and I was able to invite them to come sit with the family. So they're like, "What the heck is going on here? Like, we got to be careful. Can't turn our campers on to too much cool stuff, or else it's gonna come back 20 years later." And number two was that Bootsy was in attendance as you went from the audience to sort of the beginning of the backstage. There was a tiny little I don't even know, like a waiting area with a red curtain that went right across the front, and Bootsy just sat behind the red curtain with the curtain drawn for like 5 hours.
Yes. Well, mainly, you know why?
And you could just see like the tip of his boots like underneath, and you're like, "That's Bootsy."
Well, because Buckethead was in there, and nobody is allowed to see Buckethead without his bucket.
Oh,
that was, I'm telling you, that was when I say I've been around the block a few times and I've seen a few things, so that nothing really surprises me. Buckethead was a surprise.
What?
Buckethead, he got out, first of all, nobody was allowed to see him without his bucket. So I had to go and get him, but when I met him, he had a stocking over his head. So with some holes in it. So you couldn't really see who he was. And so we had to hide him in a space, and he's got this thing about people. So the only people he could be with was Bootsy and Patsy, because he knew them. So we had to put them in a space. First, I had him in one space where we had him hiding out. Then we had, to have him closer to the stage for when to come on. So we had to and they didn't have that many dressing rooms in Irving Plaza, or where were we? Yeah,
no, it was
what used to be the Ritz.
It was Webster Hall.
Webster Hall, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where he was. That's what that curtain was to not so much Bootsy, but
is this him?
To keep, yeah. Did you hear him play?
No.
Oh my God! There's a thing with him and Bernie. You got to look that up.
Let's bring that up right now.
Crazy.
Yeah, let me look this up. Keep schmoozing.
He's really like.
I just was reminded of another story that you told us that I want you to tell us later. But keep schmoozing. I don't want to sidetrack you because I'm going to tie it all together.
He was in Guns N' Roses, right? Like that was his later on.
Maybe, I don't know.
He toured with Guns N' Roses. I don't know if he was in, but he toured with Guns N' Roses. I remember this was like.
Did he have a bucket on then?
Yeah, he had the bucket on.
Okay, then there you go.
That might have been his first, when he got the most famous or something. That's when I heard of him.
Only person I know that wears a bucket on his head.
Well, now there's an EDM DJ that wears a bucket on his head, but he ain't no bucket head. But look, wait, here's a performance that I see, which is this looks like what's it called? Buckethead and Les Claypool from Primus.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's Primus, Les Claypool. Yeah. Primus is Les Claypool, Buckethead.
Yeah.
And Bernie Worrell.
Yeah.
Here, wait.
So let's bring that up.
Yeah, bring that up for
I'm
people,
like octopus fingers.
Ears.
Here we go. I'm gonna get faster at this. Bam.
So Bernie Worrell from P-Funk, from Parliament Funkadelic, P-Funk, the Master Dr. Wu.
The Master
Wu on the Moog, and anything synthesizer, any keyboard, anything. Classically trained.
There.
Woo, there he is.
Got the funk.
Oh, the way the nose. Here's Buckethead.
I won one of the silent auctions that night.
Did you? What? Really?
Yeah, I won the Bernie Worrell signature phaser.
Ah,
Oh snap!
wow, that tone is crazy. Woo!
Wow.
Oh yeah, shredding.
What was that like a? Did he put like a transform button on the guitar? Did you see it was?
I
Where was he
think
doing
maybe.
that? It with here.
Oh wow, yeah, it's like a cut. It's like a cut in the.
Yeah.
Whoa,
That's pretty
that's
cool.
crazy. Kids, if you're at home watching and you buy or want or do own a Flying V guitar like this, you better shred. If you got a Flying V,
Yes.
if you want to
Now
strum, you can get a Les Paul or something. But if you got a Flying V, you got to shred.
Yeah, there's so much more. Like if you follow the different videos that are out there with Buckethead and the
Wow, he's like
people
an
he visits.
enigma.
Yeah, it's really anyway. There's some time you can spend in isolation.
Just watching
Yeah.
Buckethead shred.
Yeah,
Buckethead shred
or
video.
yeah, or any of the other things, you know, where Bernie really gets involved in some of the other, you know, sort of like off ramp things that happen.
Oh,
And
yeah.
sometimes it's just like conversation, and the conversations are just as interesting as the music. Because
Wow.
Bernie was like, I don't know, he had a whole other way of like seeing life in the same way as George has his own way of seeing life, and Bootsy. Because on that birthday present to myself with George tells this story about him and Bootsy getting lost in trying to cross the border in Canada, and he swears that they weren't doing any drugs, but that they were either abducted by aliens or they saw some aliens in the space. You have to go watch it because it's like
what? See, Nona, what minute was that? That's what I'm looking for.
You gotta watch the whole thing.
I don't know what minute it's in, but
what?
It's like this. He tells this whole story about it, and they get lost in the woods, and this alien ship, and, and he says, and we wasn't high. We hadn't smoked anything. I was like, you were permanently high.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a great. It's a
And
great.
did the aliens? Were they trying to also find Canada?
I think there might have been. I don't think Bootsy
If
and
they were
George.
Canadian aliens, they'd be very polite, at least.
I don't think Bootsy and George. No, it was it? Yeah, it was Bootsy and George. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Well, to just
Welcome everybody just tuning into the Schmooze.
oh yeah, welcome
Ricky
everybody.
Wizzle, Twitchy Joe in the house. Right now we got Nona telling us stories about George Clinton and Bootsy Collins getting abducted by aliens trying to get back from Canada.
Trying to get into Canada.
Trying to get into Canada.
Yeah. So
Oh,
that was
that's so
P
funny.
Whistle 909. You know, to bring it to, I had another question too. I
Yeah.
mean, like, what really has been amazing about getting to know you, Nona, and other musicians who I looked up to as from when I was a kid and listening to your music is longevity in the music industry. Right? This is such like a fleeting industry to be in for so many people end up with some hits or end up having a career, but it's just it ends up going away in a few years, in a decade, however long. And it's like it's really hard to stay relevant, it's really hard to stay inspired and stay creative, but you're somebody that I've seen do it in so many amazing ways. And what's inspiring to me is it's not just the music that you've continued to explore, but the technology side of it and the art with your paintings and the the relationship you have at Joe's Pub and kind of curating almost as a curator there of your own series of concerts. I mean, what's your secret to this like energy to keep creating and keep exploring?
I don't know. It's not what I intended to do with my life. So that's an interesting sort of like juncture, because that was not, music was not, like I wasn't that kid who went like, studied music or, was going to go towards music as a career. That was not, I was going to go to college and get an education and become a school teacher. That was my dream. And so this happening to me is really like a surprise, mainly that if I think about it, that this is what I did and what I'm still doing. But I think what happened is along the way that either this was like, if you think about being like a vocation, like something being given to you, a gift, that is what happened. And I opened the gift and went, oh, wow, this is amazing. Let me, and it's a gift that like, that's that cliche saying that keeps on giving, but it is because it's just constantly expanding and finding all these other ways and things that are connected to it. And I think my natural curiosity of life in general, because I was the kid who loved science and looking in microscopes and things like that and taking things apart and figuring out puzzles and all that kind of stuff and digging in the ground to find things and see what was in them and so my natural curiosity, having been given this gift of like, here, this is for you. And so I've just constantly been finding more and more ways that it unfolds like a lotus flower. It just keeps unfolding, unfolding, unfolding. And then working with other people like yourself and the many people I've worked with over time has really made it even more like more rewarding in a way. Yeah, more rewarding, because then I have this other, elements, other flavors that are added to my life and to what I do in music, and I get to discover what it is that you do, and that has its effect on me. So that's a long-winded answer, but that's really, I feel like I was given a gift to that just is, you know, has a bottomless pit.
Hmm.
You may have a bottomless pit of creative energy, though, to keep on trucking. I also love taking things apart, and I'm so curious about it. Now, putting them back together again, that's a whole nother thing.
Yes, well, yes, I have a few
But I
things.
can disassemble.
To take that a step further,
I have a few things that have been like, okay, well, that's done.
Yeah,
that won't be working again. Let's just see, right?
that's like the idea that, like, the question is more important than the answer, right? Like,
Yes.
it's not about what the answer is, but it's always about what figuring out what the question is.
Yeah.
Can be more powerful.
Yeah.
Taking it apart can be more important than putting it back together.
Well, yeah.
Well, and sometimes, like I also end up with like, oh, that thing that I took apart over there that I could not figure out how to get back together. That works really well with this other one that I took apart.
Oh, yeah.
And couldn't get back together.
Bam.
Just the piece I needed.
You mentioned this collaboration part of it, and we actually, it's funny that you were wearing the Nick Cave, the sound suit or the sound hat. The beginning, we were talking about Nick Cave actually in our last episode, because Lolise, who we had on, she's also a performer. She's a singer, songwriter, performer who also makes all her own costumes. And, some of it reminded me of Nick Cave. So we started talking about Nick Cave. And, I was reminded about that performance in the Armory on the West Side, where you actually were a part of that Nick Cave installation. And you used some of your songs, and also I Feel Joy, which had just, I think, come out at that time, our collaboration.
Yeah.
And, Nick Cave is a huge inspiration for me overall, but can you tell us a little bit about working with him and like collaborating with artists and more like the visual side and what that's been like?
Yeah, what I think kind of what happens is that, well, at least it happens for me. There are people that I come across, or they are introduced to me into my I have knowledge of them over time, and I'm drawn to them. I'm drawn to their work, and I'm not totally sure why, but it is something that has a huge effect on me, and I want to meet them or hope to meet them, or and my friend Carl, I don't think you know Carl Hancock Rux. Carl called me up one day and said, "Hey, I'm here with Nick Cave and he wants to talk to you." And I went, "What? With who?" And he said, "I'm here with Nick Cave and he wants to talk to you. He thinks you're amazing." And I went, "Oh, wow, put him on." Right? And they were up at Mass Mocha, at the museum. And Nick came on the phone and we talked, and then he said, because he'd been a huge LaBelle fan. So when he saw LaBelle when he was a kid, he was like, he thought he died because he'd never seen anything like it. And it was, for him, it was like life began. And so we talked about that. And then he said, it'd be really great if you come and perform in my installation. And I said, what time? Where? And, I will be there. And I went up to Mass Mocha and performed in his work. It was called Until. Is that called Until? Yeah. At Mass Mocha, which was amazing. I went up first to see it and to figure out how I could be in it. And it was like 4 warehouse.
Such an incredible. I got to go to it. I went to it twice, because after I went to it once, it was like I had to go.
Wow. He at first, he gave me a section of the first part of the teardrops and the gun.
Nice.
Yeah, he gave me a section of that.
Wow.
And when you first see it, you just think it's all these sort of like ornaments hanging, But when you really get close up to one, you see that what he's done is created a forest of guns and teardrops. Right? So inside those spinners, he's shaped guns.
Oh, I can start to see him.
Teardrops and they're shaped, yeah. So it's all about the violence that was going on in Chicago and the South Side. And then there was another section that was all these crystals, and it was kind of his from the bottom. I performed this song called Heaven because it was Nick's idea of heaven. And so you look up and it's like these crystals and it had these stairs going up to heaven. But when you got up to heaven, Nick is so wild. He had put all this stuff in the heaven thing. And it was like, just all kinds of stuff, like somebody had emptied an antique store into this this design, and then there was these other two rooms, one that had this black sort of animated doll with these eyes sort of like dancing in different videos in the dark. So you had to be in the dark and you're confronted with this image of a little African doll that's kind of like a clownish doll, but dancing to this really kind of weird music. And it was his statement on, this of the kind of the Southern approach to Jim Crow and Reconstruction. That's heaven, right? That one's heaven, right? But if you go up above, I don't know whether there's a picture up above. No, that go back.
This was this whole other piece of it.
Yeah, that was a whole piece that's made out of the beads that black girls would put in their young black girls would have in their hair. So that was like a mountain of beads representing, this whole sort of idea of what black women have been through. It's sort of like you had to pass through this tunnel, this passage, right? And then there was the other one, which was upstairs. I don't know whether you saw that, Eli, the Tina Turner.
Yeah. Up here.
Yeah. So there was a wind thing, and it sort of reminded him of that whole how Tina, she wore this this fringe dresses, and so that was his sort of like homage to Tina. And it kind of reminds you of Tina's hair sometimes, when she would anyway, that was so I performed through the whole installation from the beginning with the spinners all the way to under heaven, through the mountain, and up to the Tina Turner space.
And you were wearing, you did the performance using another one of your really special pieces. Is that the audio tutu?
That was a tutu. Audio tutu.
I have some video of the power glove and the audio tutu.
Let's check that out.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I found something.
Nice.
You be digging in my crate.
Oh no, that's Baby Go-Go. I did want to play Baby Go-Go because that was so cool. We'll have to revisit that.
All right.
Here, I got the wrong one loaded. Keep schmoozing.
Okay. You're gonna have to fire your producer there.
No, you're fired.
Fired.
Fire your producer.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, this is Nick Cave, getting to see him on that scale, right? Like, I mean, the sound suits were already amazing, but getting to see him on that scale, like with the freedom to tell whatever story he wanted, was so powerful. And I mean, this is why I love the Mass Mocha, because the size of that gallery where they have these, I guess it's 2 different installations a year, like 2 different artists taking over that space a year, is just, it's always something really inspiring. I remember the first time I went there when I was, soon after they opened, my parents took there. I think I was a teenager. And there was this piece that was the whole space was basically turned into a player piano. and there was this like
yeah.
really elaborate system of feeding this like paper through a computer, some kind of like sensor to connect it to a computer that would then play sounds throughout the space based on this like weird scroll of like hand painted music.
Yeah.
I don't remember who the artist was, but I remember that's like
See,
that really,
Wow.
that's what art does,
yeah.
right? Which is the amazing thing about it, that we get to do that and share that with people. Which one is this?
Let's check out the tutu and the glove. Yeah.
I'm not sure where this is. I wish the videographer had realized that he really should be doing this on landscape mode. Oh, get out of town.
Facebook.
Do it again. Oh, wait. Did we just... Oh, what is going on here?
It's Facebook. We don't even need a...
It's a George moment. Oh, that's it. That's at Harlem Stage.
I want to go...
Harlem Stage. That's what that is. That's I can't remember which. I've done so many things at Harlem Stage. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, that's what the glove.
Yeah, you're right. Harlem
Stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna work now.
Is it working now? Yeah. My video I made back there. And this is my character, my alter ego, Cyborical.
Oh, the Cyborical, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Cyber Oracle.
And so the tutu and the power glove are all MIDI outfitted.
Yeah, I don't know which glove I have on there.
Because we're all
that might be, is that the wave glove, I think.
vibrating.
Yeah. They're not the tutu is really a sound system. And so I can put my voice through the tutu along with effects, and then I could be anywhere I want. Like I did one performance where I walked through from Alice Tully Hall in New York through up to Lincoln Center, then up above the library where they had the grass, and I performed up there. So I could take my own sound system with me.
Oh, it's cool.
Right. So that's what the tutu allows me to do. The glove allows me to control sound effects on my voice. But I don't think that's not the new glove. The new glove I have allows me to control images as well. So, but that one allows me to bring in effects, delay, reverb, accelerometer, so my voice can go faster or slow it down deeper. And that is controlled through Bluetooth.
This is so cool.
It's a little bad on the audio.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's
not.
So
I think that might be Charlie.
That's not the best one to show, I don't think.
Looks like Charlie maybe is frozen though. Maybe it's Florida internet.
Oh. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, but the chat room's curious. The chat room's curious. Shout out Twitchy Joe, Dr. Dance, Casey Michael. Casey Michael's saying it's reminding him of some Laurie Anderson performances, which is funny because Laurie Anderson also is an artist in residence at Mass Mocha as well.
Yeah.
And I imagine you've had a chance to spend time with her over the years as well, right? As a like-minded creative soul.
Lori's a friend. Actually, I was just texting with her yesterday. She's gonna at Berkeley. I'm an ambassador of artistry and music, and part of my role there is to work with the electronic production and design department. And we're in the process of doing the third iteration of a multiplayer game environment performance space. And Lori is going to be our virtual visiting artist this year. And so she'll come to, she'll be there virtually on the 22nd of February. And then I watched her last night. She did the first one of a series of talks that she is doing for Harvard. They invite an artist every, I think, 2 years or something like that, 3 years, whatever. And they create a series of talks. And last night's was amazing.
Oh, wow. Is it open to the public?
You have to register to be a part of it. But I don't know whether they have it up on their site for you to see now. But she's gonna. I think probably has about 4 or 5 more. I forget how many there are in the series.
Amazing.
But yeah, I mean, Lori's one of the first women that I've worked with who was really deep into technology and electronics. And you know, we got together once, and because she had this new controller that somebody had created. This was back in like, I don't know, the 80s. And you could put it around your neck and control sounds, right? So I could use my neck muscles to generate trigger sounds from a synth, right? So we like spent some time playing with that. And she and myself and Peter Gabriel and who else? I don't know. I think more those are the 2 people that I did a lot more of that kind of exploration with. And Lori and I have always sort of gone back and forth on expanding on how we can perform live in a non-traditional, i.e. band setting. And so I continue to explore that. And now I've gotten very into VR. So I'm working on, I've been working with a friend who's designed an avatar. So we're looking at different ways of being able to, specifically with the pandemic, and maybe not being able to travel for a long time to other places, to be able to have the avatar be in all these different places, but in a different way. Not so much like, here's a video of what I did. It's more of a live performance and my being able to control myself with the other new gloves that I have, which are the Miu Miu gloves that Imogen Heap and her team created.
Wow.
If you scroll, if you Google Miu M-I-M-U gloves, they're like, the one that I was using in that video that you saw was one that was made by a Berkeley student called Takahishi. This is the more advanced version of what you can do using this type of technology, right? So
now you've mentioned Berkeley twice now, and so you've been like in residency there since
yeah, I mean,
for a long time now, right?
They formed this thing called ambassadors, right? Patrice Rushen is an ambassador, and I'm an ambassador. And I was kind of introduced to the school as as a singer, as an artist songwriter. But I was like, yeah, I'd like to get to the EPD department, please, because I know how to sing, I know how to perform. Technology is what I'm interested in.
Right.
So I've been bringing singing performing live performance using technology to to what I do, and working with people, getting to know people like Imogen, having spent time and worked with, and the things that Lori has created. This is much more where I am.
Can we hear this, Charlie? Can you turn this?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
this
This
is-
is like
this is-
everything theremin. It's like
This is
the world-
Chagall.
Can you hear this?
Chagall. Yeah, Chagall, this artist. No, we can't
Are you
hear
hearing
it.
that, Eli?
No.
No.
Let me bring it back in.
Chagall was our visiting artist last year for the Dream Machine, which is the program, the multiplayer live performance environment that we're creating. She was the visiting artist performer, and she performed in this virtual venue that we created called the Crown, right? So she was able to, in Amsterdam. She's really good.
Making it look easy. Probably pretty tough, actually.
It's not easy. And especially to be able to do it so it looks like a performance, as opposed to, hey, I've got some machinery.
Yeah. That motion is what's reminding me of the theremin.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that are going on, because there's certain movements you have to make to be able to trigger certain things by how many fingers you have and the twist of the wrist.
And singing.
And singing.
Woo! What?
Yeah.
So cool.
That was crazy.
So yeah, you can use it on guitar, on keyboard.
You gotta like.
So you can, I set it up so that I can play, like I could do transformation, but I could run the beat, change the chords, affect my voice, make it go backwards. Anyway, so they're really cool. They're expensive, but they're really cool. And it's more like, where are they? I put them away. Did I put them somewhere? They're really.
They're back ordered now. You order by May 1st, they get delivered by August.
Yeah, and don't believe that. You probably won't get them till September, because they have to build them. But they did release. I think they released an app or something that you can use without the gloves. So you can actually use the software without these. Right.
That's very cool.
That's right. And they also made a pair that you could make for your kid. So Eli, you can get the little one, a little kit. Make her some gloves.
That's so cool.
That is awesome to make them.
Kid gloves.
Yeah, and she can start making some beats.
This is like the second or third reference that I've heard this week about like synthesizers for kids. I saw something else, Eli, that was like, is your dad, or are you a dad and you're like a modular synth nerd and your child doesn't want to play with your like mod synth? Yes. Well, we've got the product for you. And it even like plugs in so dad can be over there with all the Euro rack. And then your kid can be playing along.
Well, they have like synth kits for kids now.
Yeah,
and, like, just like fun like toys.
Yeah.
fun toys like our friend. I talked about this on a previous episode, but a friend of ours got us this little sampler. It's like a little handmade wooden box sampler.
Yeah.
So you can record saying a word or almost saying a word, and then you can either loop it and
Yeah.
then or just trigger it, and then you can change the pitch. So she can
Yeah.
be like, you know, Teddy,
Yeah.
and then Teddy. It's like
Right.
it's and she she gets so into it. It's like, wow, what's happening?
Yeah. So that's that's the whole sort of technology glove, Berkeley part of what I've been doing for probably about the last 10 years of working in different ways with the students there, which is great because, I'm working with people who are like 19, 20, 22, 1, 22, and especially getting, more into the virtual reality, the VR side and AR and, really figuring out how to within that, because it is so usually a technology driven experience, but to bring the human, the soul and the spirit into that area. So it's not just like, staring at a screen, dealing with images that you're manipulating, but not being connected in a more sort of spiritual way. So what we're creating what I call the dream machine, there's a connection to knowledge, choice, and courage. Right?
That's really
So
interesting. I mean, it's something that you know, we've thought a lot about, obviously, kind of being forced to just move to DJing live streams instead of in person, over the last year, and I think it's slightly different performing versus DJing, right? Like there is a different, it's a different part of the brain. It's a different feeling, but it is still like, there's still this audience interaction. It's such an important piece of both of these. And that's like initially felt really missing from streaming DJ sets, But I think with the chat room here on Twitch, that's one way of addressing it. But I think that like looking at it as taking the step back and how do you recreate or how do you create new ways of performing in new settings, like virtually, is a totally other way of doing that. That's super interesting and opens a whole other creative piece of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping through this pandemic that they'll deal with this latency issue, so you can really do some things that are collaborative and live, because that's what's holding us back in some way. The missing piece of really looking in a person's eyes, looking in someone's eye when you're and connecting from stage or to the audience, or if you're in the audience and you're connecting, actually, bodies being in the room, being able to touch a person, to be able to interact with the musicians or other artists on stage. That's the part that's missing, and nothing ever replaces that. You can, I can do all the other stuff that I want to do. My real dream machine is to really be able to, do that through the, for lack of another word, to cross that space, right? So that's something that's probably somebody else will do in the future, but
I think it's not so far. It's not so far away because I know they make like haptic suits for like gamers.
Yeah.
So there should be some sort of touch response. But I also want to say that I'm glad that we're not the only ones that are suffering with the latency issue. I'm glad that you brought that up.
It is like
it is a sort of a quandary. How I had a thought about that, but I obviously know not enough about the mechanics of how it's done. But remember how like CD Discmen. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, like first you had a Discman and it had no memory.
Yeah.
And then they made one that's like that you could take jogging.
Yeah.
So if only everything could be in some sort of buffering memory capacity, then if there was any sort of internet glitch, it would somehow you'd have a window.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think it's down to a material. I think they need to find a material that allows sound to travel faster than it travels at the moment.
But it travels at
like right now they use yeah, but there's got to be obviously it ain't the answer.
Fiber optics is the speed of light, so it's
Yeah.
like it's a different medium. It's different
Yeah.
weights.
Yeah.
So sound is
It's
basically traveling through data rather than
Yeah.
how do you sound travel through a material that allows the sound to actually be to
Yeah, I
go.
mean, there's probably a little latency now on our side.
Yeah.
Right. So, and we're just talking, but if you try to sing together, that is like, don't do that.
Right.
It's a mess.
Oh, no, even but like DJing together too, right? You have like me and Charlie when we do our back to backs, you have to match the beats.
Right.
So like we found this like we've been try to we're creative with it where we like play interludes in between and try to like drop it,
Yeah.
we have signals and try to drop the beat at just at the right time. So it's a smooth transition, but it's never going to be beat matched like we were actually DJing.
Not proper.
However, there is a technology that's called faraway DJ that a guy in the UK has basically made using Raspberry Pis.
Yeah.
Like the little mini computers that we played around with, and it basically it manages to sync up the latency.
Yes.
So we're both delayed by the same amount.
Right.
But it still messes with your head because you're trying to mix, but you're delayed from real life.
Yeah, everything is
like
in sync.
A second or two. So even though we're synced together virtually, in real life
we're delayed.
My own brain is like, how do I?
That's
yeah. So like, and DJing's all about cueing the record, like a scratch or something, or hitting a cue button, or adjusting. But all those motions are slightly lagged. So it's like,
and you can't be delayed doing funk. You cannot be. You
gotta be on the one.
You gotta be on it. And so because a lot of what's happening is like signal is being bounced at certain stations around the country, and
or up to space and then back.
Yeah. So we don't have enough. You'd have to have so many so that things would travel faster from one to the other to get. But that's not the answer. The answer is something new in terms of.
I might have your answer. Graphene. Isn't that what everyone's using in quantum computing?
Yeah, but it's with sound and the like real time. Real time is real time, and until they can get to a place where you can actually capture real time, like you capture it on a recording machine, right, or your computer or something. In real time, I'm not even sure until way in the future are we going to be able to get to what's real time. We may get to approximate real time so that you don't really feel it so much, but like now, getting to now, it's going to be. I think it's going to take a while. Some brainiac will figure it out, or brainiacs. But I think it is, as always, I think it exists already. We just have to find it. Like, I mean, everything in this world already exists. We just have to find it and make it. But it's already here.
That's a really interesting way of looking at it.
Well,
it's always. I mean, this goes back to what you said about you've always been kind of a curious explorer. That's like a way of looking at it. Like, it's here. We just need to find it. We just need to explore and dig until it's there. until we
Yeah.
see it in a new, or it's like this way of looking at it's there, but our perspective is just not quite right.
Yeah.
Tune in.
You got to
Yeah.
tune in.
We just have to, like every answer that we've had since the beginning of time was always here. Somebody just had to, like do the work, sift through, get rid of, shave off that much, and go like, oh, voila. But it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
So that I think it goes to that saying, there's nothing new under the sun. There is nothing. It's all here.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah, I'm curious, like what
Motivated.
there's so many first there's so many implications to being able to figure this out, right?
Right.
To being able to find this, like to be able to have these feelings of, togetherness and, musical creation and being in the zone together virtually has massive implications, like as we see, obviously there's so many creative and interesting ways people have been dealing with it during the pandemic. But as soon as people can get on airplanes and gather together safely, it's going to be like that, right? But like for where we're looking at with with the climate of the planet and our emissions, being able to encourage people to travel less and still have really amazing, engaging, connecting experiences is a really powerful step that, hopefully this time has jump started new ways of doing this, but we're definitely not there yet.
Yeah. Well, the environmental stress that we put on the planet is really important to solve in terms of what we make and what we do with it, and how we make it. So that's really important. The thing that I think has allowed that is the human element is the voice, right? So we've still been able to connect through our voices. We've still been able to. We do harm through our voices. We do harm. I, if I had to calculate, I would think humans do more harm with their voice than they do with weapons. And so that is something that I think with this pandemic and the ability to connect, and the internet specifically for people to connect around the world, we have been able to shift a lot of things faster, and also to be able to hear what is happening somewhere, as opposed to hear somebody's voice. If you hear somebody, laughter is infectious when people laugh.
True.
Somebody's laughing somewhere, you're like, you start smiling and feeling good, and you don't even know what they're laughing about, but it's that effect. And if you hear somebody crying, it affects you. So the human voice is like this amazing emotional connector beyond anything else that we have to express ourselves with. So to be able to have this, for us to have this conversation, yes, if we were doing this and we were mute, right, and had no way to really hear or say, then it would just be the three of us doing this or whatever we'd be doing. But that's not, this is what is connecting us, that we can do this thing called talking and call and response to each other. So that's, I think if we can really get to what is really important in life, and not the externals that we create at any cost to the planet, to the animals, and to our food, and to the air. Those, as essential as our voices, as essential as our seeing, the real senses that are allow us to be human. The other things that match up with that is the air, the water, the trees, the forest. These things are essential. And like,
Absolutely.
so if you look at them, like, so if I lost my voice, right, I have to think about the water like I think about my voice. I have to think about seeing and think about the things that I see, and think of, so that's, if we start valuing the externals that support our being,
Senses.
right, well, not
Yeah.
in our senses, that they are us.
Oh yeah.
It's just so clear that, I say external, but they are. Without them, I am not. Without, you know, so that's where I see this connection between, um, the idea that my connecting with you, connecting with others, whether we are in a room together or whether we're here together, if I get to the level that my voice and my hearing you and you're hearing me continues that connection, we're continuing our connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is more fine-tuned when we're in the room together.
Right.
But
Because it brings in the other senses as well.
Oh yeah.
Or when you're in person,
yeah,
that's what's powerful about it. But that's also why this idea of VR, has almost infinite potential, because
yeah,
once you can bring in smell, once you can bring in taste, once you can bring in these other senses, it becomes more and more like
yeah.
in the same place.
You do want to, when I'm in VR, I do want to, like, I do want the environment.
Do you own a VR setup
Yep.
and everything?
I have
Which one do you?
Oculus.
You got
Oculus.
an Oculus?
Yeah.
And
And
what are you working within software that is in development, or are there things that are your go-tos?
there are a couple of games that I like, but they're more, I'm using it more for development of this project called Dream Machine.
Right.
And it's really to, and this iteration of it will be VR, as well as having a desktop version that people can also be involved and play. But yeah, so it's, and working in it is really developing for it or creating for it. We're using, there's some things I'm having to learn.
Oh yeah.
It's a good thing I'm curious. But, but things like, creating avatars, and implementing them and writing for them and scripting for the actions that they will take, and it's not just a game where a one-player game where one player is traveling through an environment. There is a character, Newbie, and Newbie is a new being, and Newbie arrives and disturbs the dreamers, and they fall into this world where the ancestors are. And Newbie has a quest which the dreamers help Newbie with, to get to 3 challenges, and the challenge allows Newbie to silence the head and rise into the crown.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the characters are also, there's a shapeshifter who's Moby for Mo Beats, and Moby is Newbie's interpreter in the world, because Newbie's new, so Newbie has no voice. Newbie has no color. Newbie has no sex. Newbie is new. Right? So sorry about my phone going. But
That's newbie giving you a ring.
That's
Looking for some direction.
Exactly. So there's the ancestors, and then there's the family tree, because the family tree has the DNA in it that gives newbie information, right?
It's all right there, man. It's all.
I'm gonna have
all
to get.
here.
I'm gonna have to get an Oculus just so I can play this
Yeah,
game.
me too, man.
Yeah. It's gonna be we will have it, and Lori Anderson's gonna be in this one. She is better. She's gonna be better known as Lan, but she's just gonna be a disc of light.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So it'll be end of April.
Wow, that's pretty soon.
Yeah, well, this is the third iteration. We've been, working on it, and this won't be the final iteration, but this will be the third one, and then we'll, next fall, or maybe over the summer, but next fall specifically, we begin to work on it again. Hopefully, that will be pretty close to the final.
Wow.
So that's what the VR, and the school, the students, the faculty, they're like really deep into using things like Unity and Max and Normcore, and building all these ways of controlling the world, the environment, and the characters. And so it's a play, but it's a game, and it's a performance space.
Wow, man.
Can't wait to try it out.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Peter Gabriel that was really like an early VR adopter?
Yeah.
What was that project do you remember what I'm talking about? It was like late 80s.
I think I own it. I think I have one from David Bowie.
Oh.
And, Peter did one. Yeah, I still have them.
I wonder if you guys thinking about that, you guys kind of theorizing this stuff back then. I wonder, what the experience must be to watch it come into fruition in 2021, and this time when we're there.
Yeah, I mean, Peter was very advanced in terms of experimenting with electronics and technology. His live shows were just like, I don't know whether you ever saw one.
I can't think of.
Wow,
gotta go digging.
You be there with your mouth like open, like. Peter was at Madison Square Garden. He was in this bubble that he would move around the stage in this big see-through bubble. Singing. Wow. Like, he, Bjork, Lori, I'm trying to think who else. They even like Pet Shop Boys. It's amazing, like, using technology and electronics in their live performance. But Peter, had like, you went to a show and you were going to be, your mind was going to be blown.
Shoot.
Several times in the evening.
Well, these bubbles, that sounds like a good idea. I know we played a little clip of the Flaming Lips doing a performance where all the members of the band were in bubbles, as well as the audience.
Yeah, that's one way to do
it. Yeah.
Distance.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
That was cool. Somebody came up with a great idea to
maybe they took it from Peter Gabriel.
Well, maybe, but Peter's was like, you have to go find it. I think it might have been on one of his last tours. And Tony Levin, the bass player, he played the stick bass.
Oh.
Totally, like, had this bass sound that was like just
with no frets.
No frets.
Yeah.
I see. I just found some images. Wait, let me bring this up.
Bring it up.
Wow, this is cool. This is very.
And I think who was it? Who was the keyboard player was not Philippe Sace, but I can't think of his name. But they have like some really, really interesting instruments. And Peter was well known for like his drum sounds coming from Genesis with Phil Collins as the drummer. So the drum sounds were always like massive.
Yeah, that 80s, that big sound.
From Steam, was it the big record?
Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there he
this
is.
bubble. This
Yeah.
bubble's
That bubble. That was
That's
the bubble.
man.
So
That was the bubble. The bubble that those other people were in,
No,
like a little
they gotta
baby.
step their bubble up.
This is the
Step that
bubble.
bubble game up.
But he would bubble. This thing would go around the edge because the stage was in the round,
Oh.
and it would go around the edge of the stage while he was singing, you know, and then back across the stage. So the stage was set up so that the bubble could have space. It was crazy.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Pre-flame, yes. Twitchy Joe's asking. Pre-flaming lips. Yeah, because we showed Twitchy Joe's a loyal listener, watcher, viewer.
What up,
Yeah.
Twitchy Joe?
Yes, pre-flaming lips. Peter Gabriel, innovator of the bubble.
Bubble innovator.
No.
Yes. That was
Oh.
like in probably maybe early 2000. Maybe it might have been the end of the 90s. I don't even know. It's a while ago. What does it say? Does it say when it was?
I'll look it up. 1 sec.
Yeah. But he would do stuff like that, you know, all the time.
So
It's
cool,
like-
man.
Yeah.
From
So-
a tour.
Yeah, it's like going to see a Bjork
Yeah.
concert.
Early 2010s, it looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 2010.
2012, 2013.
Really?
Yeah.
That late? Oh,
Maybe these
okay.
are just later performances.
Or maybe
Yeah.
that's when it was posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was earlier than that. But anyway, that's you know, people who are innovative in that way, so that, you know, he would just come out and just sing with them, you know, with a microphone and one musician or piano or guitar, but then he would take you to this other place at the same time. I always find artists like that intriguing and interesting.
Oh yeah.
It actually looks like 2003, 2004. So yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, you know, Peter's one of my, you know, Bowie was the same way, you know, being, you know, as much as you have like Elton and Queen and some of the other artists who were spectacle driven, right? It was really ostentatious in a sense, whereas Bowie and you know, Post Spiders from Mars was much more, and Peter and were much more about, in that world of Pink Floyd early performances. So much more. It was an interesting time of creativity.
I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing, but it was a very interesting time.
I mean, regardless of what they're doing, the outcome of that, I mean, people are still doing that today, and the outcome is not the same, you know? I mean, not to say that there's no one innovating, there's nobody that's really game changing, but this is like paradigm shift after shift.
Yeah, and like large scale concerts are not like it's not the same what people are looking for, I think, in their performances, you know? Like it's very different what the goals are maybe from these big concerts.
Yeah. I think it was, in a strange way, it was more intimate, and it was more the music, the song drove what was happening, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you and the artist was the artist. So it's really, I think it's different when you know, things have changed and shifted to different point of view. Right?
Now it's the algorithm, not the artist or the song.
Algorithm. Yes. That's
Come on, Cyborg. I know you saw that one coming.
Oh, Al. Yes. Al is big. Right? But you know, that I think it's just a different time. I don't you know, I don't feel that it's and if you don't know it, if you didn't know the other time, you don't care. You know. you're wherever you are.
Yo.
Well, the beauty is though that you can go on if you do care, if you are interested, and you didn't get to be there for a lot of that stuff in the '80s, a lot of that experimentation. You can watch it on YouTube. It's all there.
Can.
Yep, you can. You can. It's. I don't know whether you. I think it's the wonder that happens at the time that it's happening. Right. So it's that wonder. It's like if you first were in the audience when the Beatles first happened, and like thousands of girls were screaming. It's hard to have that again, right? So it's kind of that is the thing that that yes, you can see it, you can identify it, you can go like, yeah, they're screaming and you can hear that, but those and that's why for the people who were there for these different things, it's imprinted on their being. They will never forget, because you know that, and they've shown the power of music with people with Alzheimer's or
right.
you know that they were just saying, like Tony Bennett like has been suffering from Alzheimer's for like 4 or 5 years, but they say his name before he has to go on stage, and he's like right there on.
Wow.
And does the whole show, knows all the lyrics, does the whole thing, right? And
a different part of the brain.
Yeah, and then just like, so what'd you have for breakfast? I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, but that's music. That's music. It is.
Yeah.
You know,
In us.
that.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up, Nona. It's been amazing, but we crossed the 2-hour mark.
Yay!
And we got to go DJ. We're gonna go play all your music for the next hour. So
right.
That's exciting.
Go ahead, do that. All right. It's been fun. It's been good to chat with you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, hear you. You know, I didn't get to like give Charlie a lot of shade or nothing today, but you know, I'll get him.
I'll be looking out. I'll be looking out in VR. You'll be popping up. Avatars popping up in augmented reality. Next thing I know.
Yes, exactly. I'll be right behind.
Oracles coming out of the corner and stuff.
Tapping you on your shoulder.
Yeah, my haptic T-shirt.
All right.
Oh man, we love you, Nona.
Love you too.
Yeah, definitely so much love, Nona.
Stay safe, and let's do this again soon.
Schmooze on.
We shall. Schmooze away.
Thanks so much. Bye, Nona.
Bye.
Yeah. Oh, she's the best.
Yeah.
She's too cool, man.
So
she's
good.
too cool. They don't make them like that. And it's like, I feel like we are, as much as I am so proud of being here with you now, I sort of wish we were hanging out with her then too. You know, like you and me would have been great in like the late 70s, I think.
Hey man, it would have been fun. If, you know, either VR or time machine, hopefully it'll take us there before we die.
We were just twinkles in our father's eye.
So yeah, we're gonna head over to the Soul Clap Music channel. Let me bring this up. Where's this? Coming up at the show. Yeah, hit the Soul Clap Music channel. We just started playing one of our videos over there. We're gonna be rating and heading over there to play Nona's music for the next hour. And then next week we have Ultra Nate, another incredible place of music. And can't wait to have her keep celebrating Black History Month with these amazing Black women. But we got so much going on Twitch this week, so you know we're gonna stay busy with you before next Thursday. You know it. But let's close out with our vinyl thoughts. What do we got?
That's right. For our vinyl thoughts, we had to dip into some of the music that we did with Nona Hendryx. This is off of the Keep Funking EP, which came out on Soul Clap Records. 2018, I want to say, co-produced by Eli and I, as well as Morgan Wiley. And there are all types of players on this EP. You should really check it out. And this is the title track, Keep Funkin'. I'm going to let this play. Oops, press the wrong button. I'm going to press a couple more wrong buttons today and see you guys.
See you over on the
on the Soul Clap
raid.
Music channel.
keep on fucking for the world. Keep fucking every boy. And got to keep fucking for the world. Keep fucking. Everybody say, let your free flag fly. Raise it high in the sky. Let your free flag fly. Ooh, let your free flag fly. Raise it high in the sky. Let your free flag fly. Oh, free your mind and your soul. Don't lose control. Let it go. Let your free flag fly. Raise it high. Let your free flag fly. Raise it high in the sky. Let it fly. 'Cause everything that you know somebody told you so. Keep on fucking.
What if there was no America? What if there was no flag, no borders, no leadership, no Americans, no North, no South, no East, no West, no democracy, no Constitution?